Thought it would be better for me to speak to you on those you are going to teach. When we come to that, it was very recently we were talking about year 2000, 2K, and suddenly now we are almost at 20, we are now in 2024, almost a quarter of a century has gone by. So the children, the young men and women you are teaching, or what we call the YK, the 2K youth. So, I think we must also understand where they come from. We, for instance, I can quite boldly say that we come from a generation where 4 to 6 children in the house was the norm. Then that slowly went down to now you are into the nuclear family now. So there's generally one child in the house, or probably 2, very rarely 3. So this is the type of, and you know that in our earlier days when there are 4 or 5 children in the house, where I can speak of myself as an example. I wore my elder brother's clothes when he had grown out of it, and then I grew into it. So this type of, and that used to happen to the girls also. And nowadays we don't find tailors, it's all ready-made. Nowadays, they measure, they'll get the cloth, you'll get it tailored specifically, and that's how we used to do. Now it's all direct outright purchases, and the whole system thing has changed. So this is where these children are coming from. And for the most part, we can say for the most part, especially where the youth of today are in college, they come from dual income families. The mother's earning, the father's earning. Earlier, the mother was only in charge of the household, the father would be doing the earning. So now you have very many dual income families. So once they finish their work at their work spot and come home, the last thing they want is this child in the house pestering. So they simply oblige the child to just be done with it. You have what you want, leave us alone. Now that grows into a habit. Over the years, the child grows up, he's used to having his way all the way. And now you are the teacher who are facing children who come from this sort of setup. So, in fact, you can say that the youth of today, your students, from the impact of the way they have grown up, the manner, the surroundings in which they grew up, the mind is attuned to desire fulfillment. This I say from personal experience. The very mind of the young youth of the day is attuned to desire fulfillment. And unfortunately, the parents of the day have not administered one very important vitamin N, which is vitamin no. We have not said no enough to children, and that is the root cause. Because of the circumstances we were living, there is nobody, there is no sort of trying to blame anybody. It's a certain set of circumstances, a certain history, a society which developed, which led to the situation. And finally, the teachers are the ones who are going to bear the brunt of this in trying to communicate with your I'm not to blame the youth of today, because the youth of today is, let us say very frankly, much more intelligent than we were when we started. And I think that again comes from society, because generally it is agreed that, I think the general proposition is that if the child is, if the nutrition levels of a child are good up to age 3, the brain development will be very good. And I think the children of today that nutritionally, I don't think they suffer much defect. At least we can say that very proudly as far as our state is concerned. Tamil Nadu, we have been leaders in mother care, child care. We really have done extremely well on that one. The difficulty is they are very fragile. The difficulty with the youth of today is they are very fragile. We used to play out of the roads in a group. Today, it will be one fellow hitting the other, and the next day, arm in shoulder with each other. You don't find these children doing that much, except for the sports persons, a few people who are, in particular games. You find, I know for a fact that my son is there. He's got 4 or 5 of his friends in the room. They are all playing. There's a screen and they are playing with their fingers. So where's the physical activity? That's the sort of, and that sort of makes them, they are not tough physically. They are not tough mentally because they are not being said no to. So all these factors add up to various difficult situations which the teachers of today have to deal with. And that is why I think today's the 3-day program of, teaching you to reach your student before you teach your student is going to make a big difference. And yes, we must talk about this. A friend of mine, Dr. Akbar Ali, on the Apple iPhone, we find the emblem Apple. The half bit, the bitten apple. He says this is to remind you of the evil of the first apple bitten by Eve. So there is a lot of good in that cell phone. There is more trash and bad in that. And so we have to be careful because really I do not know how we are going to teach our children to use it in positive ways and not in negative ways. For instance, I can tell you very, very simply that there was a time when I would carry 100 telephone numbers in my head. Just like that, anybody, if I wanted to talk to see others, I would call him straight away without even thinking of what his number was. Today I hardly carry any. Why? Because of the cell phone, it's all there. Now imagine my situation if I have to go and ask my wife, can you please give me the phone number? Imagine the trouble I would get into if I asked her for her phone number. And that's where we are going. And yes, we have Google. So Google has all the answers. So before I can tell my son anything, he said, Dad, no, that's wrong. I know I've already read it. And Google is always right. I mean, what do you do? That's the way things are. And recently I asked one of my nephews who had to do he had completed his entire engineering course. He needed to do one assignment. So I asked him, is that a tough assignment? He says, yes, it is tough. So when I'm going to get prepared, no, not really, no problem, until I will just look it up or I'll do it through chat GPT. Finished. So where's the learning? So I really think the teacher's role in learning to teach will have to be replicated in teaching the youngsters to learn. Because now everything is all on the cell phone, on Google, on ChatGPT, and now we are going into artificial intelligence. And artificial intelligence is already having driverless cars. I mean, we have a lot of driverless minds on the road. That's a different issue. But yes, so I mean, I think the long and short of it is with this. Technological advancement is necessary. That is what has driven society from century to century to century. There is good in technological advancements, there is bad. We must remember, in fact, especially with ChatGPT and artificial intelligence and all that taking over, we must remember that no matter what be the developed technology, no matter what the level, man must be the master of the technology and not the slave of the technology which comes to me. With these few words, I would say thank you very much for this opportunity. I wish you all the very best in what you do. Thank you.